MotoGP has been incredible this season, one of the sport's greatest, as Jorge Lorenzo sealed a brilliant season with his 5th World Championship, and 3rd in MotoGP itself. But talking about 99 alone just doesn't cut it. This season had so many incredible moments, so much that, guess what, I just had to make a top 5 video out of it. So here's me, Andre Harrison, with my top 5 highlights of the 2015 MotoGP season. Name rolls right off the tongue. Number 5 is the resurgence of Ducati. The 2015 season kicked off under the lights in Qatar, and to everyone's surprise, the threat of the Red Barons were very much real. Luigi Delagna was now in charge, and their completely redesigned bike, the GP15, was small, sleek, and extremely fast. Combined with the concessions and a new teammate in Andrea Iannone, Ducati hit the ground running in 2015, with established top-tier runner Andrea Dovizioso scoring 3 second-place finishes in the opening rounds, and trading top finishes with Italian hero Valentino Rossi. It was a shame that they were not quite able to replicate the heroics of Casey Stoner from yesteryear in 2015, but the early going of the team gave people hope. Maybe next year, eh? Number 4 was the British Grand Prix, a race that had all sorts of crazy right from the start, as the sudden downpour of rain at Silverstone forced all the riders into the pit lane for a bike change onto the wets, and race direction to red flag the start, as not a single rider actually took to the grid, and roughly 50,000 horsepower was stuck at the end of the pit lane. Valentino Rossi led one of his vintage performances to win yet again in what was an incredible season for the Doctor, while Marquez threw away second with a crash at turn 1. But the real star of the show was second-placed runner Danilo Petrucci, the Pramac runner who was still on an updated version of last year's Ducati GP14, who had come alive in the British rain, beating Dovi into 3rd, Lorenzo into 4th, who were both on far better machinery. Danilo was a breath of fresh air up top in what for me was the best individual performance of the season, and a real coming-of-age ride after being shackled with the terrible Iota project for 3 seasons. Number 3 was the Grand Prix of San Marino, a highly tense affair and a sold-out Misano circuit as we saw something not seen in a MotoGP race before. Actual strategy as the rain came and then swiftly ended in MotoGP's first ever 2-stop race. The leading field consisted of Rossi breaking out a special helmet marking the fish and the shark against Lorenzo and Marquez, and while Lorenzo led the early going, the rain soon came down and changes to the wet bikes were made, with Rossi surging to the lead due to the confidence in changeable conditions. But the rain dried up very quickly, and then the decision was made to change back to the dry bikes, Marquez doing so first out of the leading pack, and he made it work to take the win, given how much faster the dry bikes were. Jorge Lorenzo had crashed, just his only crash of the season, and Rossi had left it too late, dropping to 5th. There was even more amazing stories further behind, such as Bradley Smith's best ever result in 2nd, after amazingly not stopping at all for a new bike, and riding through the conditions on a dry bike to weather the storm. Scott Redding finished 3rd after crashing on lap 6, but recovered incredibly well. Loris Baz on the open class forward Yamaha team, on the brink of liquidation, finished 4th, being the first to gamble on the 2-stop, in one of the most crazy and best tactical calls ever seen in MotoGP. Misano is a special race, and a must-see if you're a motorsport fan. And surprise, this wasn't even the best race of the season. Number 2 was the Phillip Island Grand Prix in Australia, one of the greatest races ever seen. Many fans have been dying to see a 4-way battle between the best in the world. Now, Dani Pedrosa wasn't there, but we did get Andrea Iannone instead, the Ducati having one of its rare better days, and as it upset the apple cart in a huge way, but right after he headbutted a seagull, as one does. It was an incredible back and forth, Jorge Lorenzo leading the way but often vulnerable by Phillip Island's massive slipstream, and Iannone constantly being a thorn in the side of him, as well as Marquez and Rossi with some terrific passes throughout the race. Everyone played a role, from Marquez pacing himself to Iannone being the Crazy Joe nickname he's lived up to, including one of the greatest passes the sport has ever seen, a double overtake at the downhill hairpin to pass Rossi and Marquez for 2nd. But on the final lap, with Marc Marquez a whole second behind Lorenzo in 3rd place, he unleashed one of the greatest pushes to the front I had ever seen, passing Iannone, then surging his way to the back of Jorge, then passing him into the penultimate corner to take his 50th Grand Prix win. A true lap of the gods, with Iannone sneaking onto the podium ahead of Rossi for 3rd. For sheer action, MotoGP has never seen a race like this. A must-see for any race fan, and one that set a MotoGP legend over the boil. Number 1, and what will dominate the talk, will be the feud between Valentino Rossi and Marc Marquez. Two riders, one inspiring the other, and how two of the greatest ended up at loggerheads. It all started at Argentina, another majestic race and one that told the story, as Marquez being put on the wrong tyres when he dominated the early going, but Rossi chasing him down led to the two making contact. Marquez's blunder caused him to crash. The two met again at Assen, where an inspired Rossi looked good for the win, until the final dive at the chicane forced Rossi to cut across the gravel to win the race, a move that Honda protested and failed. And after Rossi had accused Marquez of playing with the field in Australia, Rossi and Marquez went at it again in Malaysia, the penultimate round of the championship. Rossi and Marquez exchanged positions with some incredibly aggressive passes, normally saved for the end of the race. That was until lap 7, where Rossi ran wide intentionally at the second to last corner, made contact with Marquez, and the Spaniard hit the deck, with Rossi riding on to a comfortable 3rd. Rossi was punished with 3 penalty points, forcing him to start at the back of the grid in Valencia. And even though Rossi rode valiantly to finish 4th, it was Jorge who won the title, with Rossi blaming Marquez for doing so, accusing him of being a bodyguard. Rossi's been in the wars before, but never something at this level and in this era of social media. For many, this will be the most captivating element of the season, and it's probably unfortunate that it hurt what was another incredible performance by Jorge Lorenzo. So there's my highlights of what was a brilliant 2015 MotoGP season. Got any other highlights you want to mention? What did you make of the Rossi vs Marquez feud? Let me know in the comments below, and until next time, I've been Andre Harrison, and thanks for watching.